right. This is the most ridiculous show on television. The Kondrackian wave. Yeah, we're going for the ratings, aren't we? Tragedy and hope. Global economies are all tied together. This is from the 1960s, and it was well-intended. I disagree with it, but it was well-intended. It was to stop nuclear war and world war, meaning if somebody goes for all-out war, they'll fall and collapse their economy because they're trying to collapse the economy of somebody else because we're all tied together. It's now called globalization. Okay? Now, how does this actually work and what does it mean? David Buckner, the president of Bottom Line Training and Consulting, he's also an adjunct professor at Columbia University Teachers College. Okay, so David, first of all, the last break, do I have it right?
You've got it right. The cycle works that way, and the reality of it is we've seen a lot of examples as to how they've tried to bolster that and how it's actually failed.
This is actually pushing money into it to try to keep...
Yeah, we saw this in 2000, 2001 with the airlines.
Right.
The airlines needed a bailout. They claimed they needed a bailout. The government came in and bailed them out, and they all went into bankruptcy by 2004, 2005.
Happens every time. Okay. So here's what I want to come to you with, David. The idea that we're all interconnected. And I think this is an important thing for people to understand because what you see over in Europe does affect us, right?
Yeah, we are all, that's the globalization concept,
okay.
And we've always viewed it as the upside.
Right. But the downside is this, and I'm going to go over the chalkboard and you explain what this is. And this idea is that we're all connected. It doesn't matter, and this is just, I said start at Greece.
Well, Greece is where we're going. We see it going down right now.
Okay, so but it doesn't. These are all interchangeable countries. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Okay, so help me out on the start at Greece.
As you shift from Greece, France has a huge connection to Greece. Regardless of the fact that it's part of the EC, it's connected by its exposure. You see right there $79 billion worth of exposure. So when Greece goes down, there is going to be an impact on France.
Okay, so when Greece goes down, and it's just, we're just using these, I mean, this is...
Could be any country in Europe.
It could be any country, and it's going to be more than just France, et cetera, so everybody back off on these examples. France goes down. This weakens France. Then people will rush to bail out France because France can't bail. That won't work.
And a larger country, you've got Germany, that comes in and we make the assumption Germany is there to bail out France as part of the EC.
And France, if they were going to bail out Greece, which I think they said no to, right?
Correct.
Right. It makes them more, they know they're down this line. So to give money here would have helped them if they would have believed it.
Germany had the resistance. The people said, no, we're not going to do that.
Got it. Yeah. So 8% of imports come from France, so that affects Germany.
You get a domino.
Right. Then the UK imports 13%.
Their exchange 13% with Germany, you start to get the impact there.
Now, these countries are already weak. They're already weak.
And not only are they weak, but they're the pull, the drag, the gravitational pull from Greece, which is insignificant if you look at it on a global basis, is very small, but it started to create a momentum.
Right. You
pull France, now France has to grab harder, and Germany now comes, or whatever country you may use, and the UK, and you start to get a momentum, like a snowball.
Now, the UK is already in really delicate shape.
They've got a tough time.
Got it. They're the third largest holder of our treasuries.
That's a tough one for us now.
Right. So now they fall, we fall, China falls. This is the truth that nobody in the media is. It is
a snowball.
Right.
It starts very small, but with each pull down, it grabs and pulls more pieces of it.
Okay, so now let me go to, we have to wrap up? I was just going to go to a happy solution. Can we? Well, you're going to have to wait for a happy solution then, I guess. David, we'll have you back because I want to talk to you about the solution. It's one of the things that we're talking about on the tour. American Revival. David is going to be coming with me in Orlando and Phoenix, and tickets are available at glennbeck.com. But we're talking about not only this, but the solution.
And the impact, what it does.
And it's an easy solution. We just have to be brave enough to do it. David, thank you.
Good to see you.
All right. I'll find out all the ticket information and everything else for the American Revival at glennbeck.com. We'll be right back. By the the way, don't miss tomorrow night's program right here on the Fox News Channel at 5 o'clock because we have an incredible, we have 3 people on tomorrow. I don't usually have guests. We have 3 people on at once for the full hour, and it is amazing, amazing what you will see and learn tomorrow. All right. I told you we're coming to a time where circumstances dictate that we think out of the box, and that's kind of what tomorrow's show is about. But we're not the only ones that know this. My happy solution I was going to talk to David about, and I will in the coming days, I favor cutting taxes, and I mean dramatic, not like Bush stuff. I mean dramatic, and dramatic spending cuts like, oh, I don't know, Calvin Coolidge. But the other side's ideas are not really about even spending less. They are a massive expansion of government and the redistribution of wealth. Americans are not prepared to accept, I don't think, really either of these ideas, but less prepared to accept a Marxist kind of country. We've sort of been conditioned over the past couple of 100 years to be a tad skeptical of government power. So to implement these radical ideas, you have to do one of 2 things. 1. You can wait for a crisis and then force it down everybody's throats in a panic or some sort of nuclear option. For that, you need to have radical thinkers very close to you that already have developed these plans and can jump in at a moment's notice. When there's an emergency, you jump in. The second way is to do it bit by bit, to constantly mainstream these radical ideas over a long period of time until they don't really sound so crazy anymore. This is the foundation of the glorious return today of Van Jones. Do you remember him? Everybody's favorite self-described communist revolutionary is now on his comeback tour. We know his views are radical. We've covered them here endlessly. The Van Jones social calendar, however, has been packed lately. He's just made a speech at Columbia, which is really no big deal. They'll let any dirtbag speak there. After all, wasn't the president who ran there? Yeah. But then Jones made a speech at Phillips Exeter Academy in New Hampshire. What could possibly make a parent happier than their high school-aged child hearing an address from a disgraced revolutionary? Is that part of the No Truther Left Behind program? I don't know. Next up, Jones gets the NAACP Image Award, one of their highest honors. Now, usually this thing goes to people who have accomplished something, champions like Serena and Venus Williams, people who have broken barriers like Condi Rice, or somebody really, really big like the first black president. I wasn't aware that a few months of advocating for invisible green jobs before you exit your post in public disgrace qualified you for one of these awards, but what do I know? They didn't ask me to vote. Jones will also be at, and I kid you not, Princeton's Woodrow Wilson School of Public and International Affairs. Oh, it's kind of a Glenn Beck program 5 o'clock smart joke. Woodrow Wilson and Van Jones, who would have seen that one coming? He's going to be hanging out with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand from New York. Whoa, we should ask her, as a New York senator, how she feels about the government blowing up the World Trade Center. They're going to be at a Green Jobs Forum. Plus, he even has a brand new job at the exact place we told you he would end up at, the hard-left, Soros-funded progressive think tank / arm of the White House, the Center for American Progress. How close are they to the design of White House policy? Well, it's headed up by John Podesta. Love this cat. He's great. John even announced the hiring of Van Jones. This is how they describe what he's been up to lately on their own website. Podesta served as a co-chair of President Obama's transition, where he coordinated the priorities of the incoming administration's agenda. A special interest group coordinating the agenda, oversaw the development of its policies, and spearheaded its appointments of major cabinet secretaries and political appointees. Oh, is that all you guys have been doing there, the ultra-left think tank with Soros? For any of you who thought that our president got rid of Jones because he didn't want a self-avowed communist revolutionary 9/11 truther working on his policies, apparently you were mistaken. It's basically if Tiger Woods got caught in bed with an exotic dancer and in response installed a stripper pole right there in his guest house while leaving the key at Scores.